All right, good morning, counsel. Back on the record in the Simpson matter, the defendant is again present with his counsel, Mr. Shapiro, Mr. Cochran, Mr. Douglas, Mr. Bailey, people represented by Ms. Clark, Mr. Darden, Ms. Lewis, and Mr. Goldberg. Jury is not present. Counsel, anything we need to put on the record before we invite the jurors to rejoin us? All right, Deputy McNair, let's have the jurors, please. All right, Detective Furman, would you please resume the witness stand? All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Hope you all had a pleasant weekend. All right, Detective Mark Fuhrman is again on the witness stand. Good morning, Detective.
Good morning, Your Honor.
You're reminded you are still under oath, and Ms. Clark, you may resume with your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let's see. I think where we left off on Friday, sir, you were showing the jury the shovel and the plastic and the wood, the piece of wood that you saw near the Bronco. You recall that?
Yes, I do.
Now, first of all, the plastic, you indicated, where did you recover that from? What part of the Bronco? Oh, you didn't recover. Where did you see it?
I saw it in the right side or the passenger side of the rear cargo area along the side of the vehicle cargo area.
And that was it inside something?
It looked like it was in some sort of a pocket.
Okay. You did not recover that item?
No, I didn't.
And did you recover the shovel?
No, I didn't.
Did you recover the wood?
No.
That was left for someone else to recover?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, that plastic, do you happen to know whether it belongs in a Bronco or anything about it?
Well, now I do.
And what is that?
It's the spare tire bag. In other words, when a tire is off the vehicle and it's dirty, you place it in the bag so you can place it in the cargo area.
Okay. And that's standard equipment for a Ford Bronco, is it?
I was told it was, yes.
Yes. What about that shovel? Standard equipment also?
No, I don't believe so, no.
Now, you indicated that you had a conversation with Mr. Kalin in which he informed you about the thumps on the wall. You recall that? What time did he say he heard those thumps?
10:45 p.m.
You, I think you had testified earlier that you brought him into the house with you and put him in the bar area?
Yes, ma'am.
And then what did you do?
Then I walked towards the front door area, which passed the kitchen.
And then what?
I saw Detective Van Adder in the kitchen. I told Detective Van Adder, I said something to the effect of, Phil, talk to this guy at the bar.
Did you tell him what to talk about?
No.
And then what did you do?
I walked out the front door of the residence.
And at that moment that you walked out the front door, sir, did you know where Mr. Simpson was?
No.
Did you have any idea where he had gone the night before?
No.
Or if he'd gone anywhere?
I had no idea, ma'am.
Or when he was due to return?
No.
When you exited the front door, where did you go?
I walked out into the driveway and I looked to my left to see where the property ended.
right. Sir, if you would please step down and show us the route you took when you exited the front door.
All right, Ms. Clark, you're referring to the diagram.
People's 66, I'm sorry.
People's
66.
66. Thank you.
I exited the front of the house where on this chart it says entrance. I exited going west, I walked onto the driveway, and then looked south.
Now, why did you look south?
Well, from where I had come from in Kalen's room, the wall that he heard the crash of the thump was on the south wall.
And then where did you go?
I walked down the driveway and I started walking down towards the garage. The garage comes somewhat out from the front of the residence. I walked around the garage and went down to the southernmost part of the property, and then I looked to my left, which would be east.
And you looked to your left eastward because, why?
That would have been the direction going back towards Kalen's room.
What happened next?
I saw a pathway. It looked very narrow and dark, and there was a cyclone fence that ran along the southern property line with, it looked like plants from the residence to the south that had overgrown towards the Simpson residence.
And were there any gates there?
I believe there was a gate that was broken at some point in here. I believe it might have been here. I think it was laid up against some, I can't remember what debris it was there, what was there, but it was there.
So it was not closed, the gate?
No.
And so what did you do? Where'd you go?
Well, I took out my flashlight and I started walking down the path, trying to figure out the residence architecture, to figure out where Kalen's wall might have been.
Now, what were you able to see from that first gate area in terms of farther down the walkway? What were you able to see?
Well, I could see there was a long walkway, but it seemed this was a little elevated, so I was looking somewhat downward. I saw a long path, a long dark path covered with leaves.
And what did you expect to find?
I didn't know. I thought the possibility that somebody had collapsed back there.
And why did you think that?
By Kalen's statement, it was rather odd, the thump on the wall, nothing that followed up. Plus what I observed on the Bronco that was parked on Rockingham, and the inability to raise anybody in the residence. That was our concerns at that time.
Okay. So what were you able to see from the vantage point of that first gate area going down? Anything?
Nothing really.
Was it, can you describe the lighting in that area?
Well, the lighting outside was getting light outside, but it was even worse lighting back here. It was very shaded. These trees or shrubs caused it to be darkened, and then all these buildings were much higher than, about the same height as the trees at some point, sometimes higher.
So did you need the aid of your flashlight in order to see where you were going?
Not so much to see where I was walking, but mostly just to look for anything that I might have walked on. I was using it, it wasn't that powerful. So
What kind of, that was that little flashlight?
I had 2 AA batteries and a small mag light.
And then where did you go after you reached that first gate area?
I got to this area and I was kind of confused by this indentation. And I looked in this area, but I couldn't see anything that would really indicate that this is where the noise was from. I walked back out here in this area.
Okay. For the
I believe
record,
there was another gate in here somewhere, but I'm not sure if it was open.
for the record, when the witness said this area, he was referring to the behind the garage area, the entire area on People 66 that is indented. That would be just to the right of the garage area. And then you recall a second gate.
I believe so. It was also open,
Not locked.
not locked.
And what were you able to see when you got to the second gate area, in terms of farther down the walkway?
Then I was, as far as further down the walkway, I hadn't been able to see anything farther down the walkway. I was looking at this architecture in here where it's beginning to come back out adjacent to the path.
Why don't you have a seat? Another board, can show you the defense has it be marked Peoples 116.
All right, Peoples 116 next in order, which is a chart. Can I ask the court TV person to give me a look at it, please?
Okay, I guess you have to sit down.
Okay.
Directing your attention, sir, to Peoples 116, the photograph labeled A. Tell us what's depicted in that photograph.
Photograph A is the front of the garage. This is facing due west. I walked along the path and came out in front of the garage and walked to this entrance right here and looked east down the path.
For the record, when the witness indicated this entrance, he was pointing to the area to the right of the right-hand side of the garage as you face the photograph.
Appears to be the south portion of the garage.
That's right, thank you. And photograph B?
Photograph B would be, this is the air conditioner that's jutting out with the bracing. This wall line here, I believe, is the beginning of the building, the bungalows, where I believe the outside of Cato's wall. Maybe the office that's just adjacent to Cato's wall.
Okay, before we get to those, let me ask you a couple more.
392, can you see everything there? Does the way the attorneys are standing? All right. Anybody in the jury who can't see, let me know, please. Thank you.
Now, you said you passed through the second gate area,
Yes.
and what were you able to see when you got to the area of the second gate?
Well, I was looking, initially I was looking up trying to figure out the where the wall was. I looked up, I saw a sheer wall that went up quite a ways, like 15, maybe as high as 20 feet. And the pitch of the roof went directly back in towards the pool area. And I recalled that from when I was on the other side. And I determined that that was probably Cato's wall.
So, as you were looking then at the outside of the residence, you were trying to determine what wall matched up with the outside of Cato's room?
Yes.
And what time was it, if you recall, when you exited the house and went down that south pathway?
6:10, 6:15.
Were you looking at your watch when you went out of the house?
No, ma'am.
You're estimating for us?
Yes.
And then after you passed through the second gate area, you saw the wall that appeared to match Cato's wall.
Yes.
Then what happened?
I continued walking down the path, and when I got approximately 15 or 20 feet away, I saw a dark object. I continued to walk forward towards that object.
Could you tell what that dark object was?
No, not until I got very close.
And how close did you get before you could tell what it was?
several feet, or I'm not sure. At some point, I could tell that it was a glove.
And when you saw that it was a glove, first of all, where did you see it in relationship to the air conditioner shown in People's B and C?
Here's the air conditioner,
People's B, in the B?
and I looked down, and there is the dark object that I saw.
And for the record, the witness is pointing to what looks like a small dark spot right next on the ground near the air conditioner in photograph B. And in photograph C, can you see it?
It's rather dark, but I believe that here's the air conditioner bracing, and then I believe this is, it's really hard to see right over here. This looks like the object that I saw, yes.
And for the record, the witness has pointed to two pieces of wood sticking out of the wall in the top of photograph C as when he referred to the bracing for the air conditioner and a dark spot underneath on the
Ms.
ground.
Clark, excuse me, Ms. Clark, do you wish to move that exhibit further down momentarily so the jurors on the other end of the box can see that?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. That's a good idea.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Ms. Clark.
Thank you. In photograph D, sir, can you tell us what you see there?
Photograph D is a picture of what now I identified as a possible glove. This was probably about the distance, maybe a little farther back, that I could tell it was probably a glove.
And when you were able to tell that it was probably a glove, what did you do?
Well, I walked closer to look at it.
Okay. How close did you get to it?
I got probably as close as photo F, looking down at it.
And what, did you just stand and look down at it? Or did you touch it? What did you do?
I didn't touch it, I looked at it, I didn't know what the significance of it was.
Go ahead, take your seat. Can you pull up? Can you pull up? Excuse me.
Ms. Clark, are you going to continue to use this?
Yes, I'm going to
All
go
right.
back and forth.
Fine.
Keep my voice up. Can you please describe the appearance of the glove, sir?
Well, it appeared to be, it didn't match the terrain. There's leaves all over the walkway. It was dirty in the area. It was unkept. This glove didn't have any signs of dirt or leaves or twigs on it. It appeared a dark leather glove. It appeared to be somewhat moist or sticky. I didn't touch it, but it appeared that parts were sticking to other parts of the glove.
And you were describing the walkway area. You indicated it was kind of dirty with leaves. Were you able to see any footprints or shoe prints or disturbance in those leaves?
No, I didn't.
Can you describe, was it very thickly covered with leaves? What did it look like?
Well, much as this picture depicts in this photo, that was much of the way the walkway looked.
And when you look back, could you see where you had just walked on the walkway?
No.
So after you got up to the glove, you indicate you looked down at it. What happened next?
Well, at that point, I was somewhat alarmed at not of finding something such as this and not knowing if a suspect or a victim had left something back there. So I continued farther east past the air conditioner.
Let me back up 1 second. Could you tell whether that was a right or left-handed glove when you looked at it at that time?
It appeared to be a right-handed glove.
And did it, what significance did you attach to it when you saw it, if any?
Well, it looked similar to the glove on the Bundy scene.
Did you immediately think it was a match? What was your state of mind about that?
Oh, I didn't know at that point. It was a dark-colored leather glove.
Okay. And after you saw that glove, did you pick it up?
No.
What did you do?
I walked around it. I continued eastbound on the walkway.
Did anything draw your attention as you passed the area of the glove and continued down the walkway?
Yes.
And what was that?
I started hitting spider webs or cobwebs in my face.
And had you hit any spider webs or cobwebs up until the point where you saw the glove?
No.
So what did you do next? You continued down the walkway?
Yes, ma'am.
And why?
Well, I didn't know if I had someone that had gone all the way down the walkway, whether it be a suspect or a victim. I didn't know their condition. And at that point, I didn't want to turn my back on anyone that might be watching me.
And what did you see?
I saw nothing. I continued down the walkway to the end of the building, where there was a large area of budding plants and shrubbery. I concluded it might have been where gardeners start small plants.
So where is that area located with respect to the house and the walkway?
It would be in the southeast corner.
At the back of the house?
Yes.
So you went all the way back there?
Yes.
What did you think you were going to find back there?
I was looking for somebody that had collapsed and gone back to that area, and quite possibly was lying there.
Even though you felt cobwebs, spider webs on the way back?
Well, I didn't know. I wasn't crawling, so I didn't know exactly what had transpired there.
Were you walking straight up, standing up?
Pretty much, yes.
I mean, as opposed to bent over?
I could have been bent over at some times. Some of the overhanging leaves, or the tree, I think some of the time there was branches in the way, so I could have been leaning over some of the time.
Perhaps we ought to note how tall the detective is.
Right. And you felt the cobwebs where? On your face, on your shoulders, can you tell us?
Yes, on my face, and initially on my face. I went underneath the air conditioner.
And how tall are you?
6'3".
Okay. When you got to the rear of the location, you saw that area. And was it like a dirt area back there?
Somewhat. There was plants, and there was wild grass, and there was some shrubbery, and there was some plants that looked like they might have been taken care of or planted there on purpose.
Did you look around?
Yes.
What did you, other than what you've just described, did you see anything else?
I found no evidence of anyone being there or any evidence of anybody leaving something in that area, so I left.
And where did you go?
I walked back up the path westbound, and I went to the front of the residence, and I located Detective Phillips.
Now, when you first went back on that walkway, did you know whether Cato had already gone back there to investigate the thumps on the wall?
No, I didn't.
And you walked back out?
Yes.
And when you walked back out, sir, can you indicate what area you stepped out of, where you stepped out of the walkway? Is there a photograph that shows where you came out?
I believe so, yes.
66?
Yes.
Which one is that? You don't have to get down if you don't need to.
That would be photo A?
Photo A? That same entrance area that you indicated earlier, sir?
Yes.
And what did you do at that time?
I walked north or back towards the front of the residence, and I saw Detective Phillips in front of the kitchen TV room area.
And what was he doing in front of the kitchen TV area?
I just saw him standing there. I don't know his reason for coming out there or what he was doing. I just asked to talk to him.
Next, in order 117 has been shown to the defense, a photograph of the house.
People 117.
Showing you People's 117, sir. You've indicated just now that you, when you came out from the south pathway, that you went towards the house where you saw Detective Phillips.
Yes, ma'am?
Do you see the area in People's 117 where you saw Detective Phillips standing?
Yes.
And where's that?
There's a first story window facing the camera, almost center. It would have been in that paved area.
Can you direct the pointer?
Yes.
You're going to have to look at the screen. Tell me if you can see the red dot.
Up.
Okay,
And now a big circle right in that area.
right here.
Right, well, a little to the right where that walkway is that goes to the door. Yes, right in
Right
that
there?
area.
All right. Was he standing outside, sir?
Yes.
And what, did you have a conversation with him?
Somewhat. I just told Ron I'd like to show him something.
Did you tell him what you wanted to show him?
No.
Why not?
I wanted to see his impression. He made similar observations on the Bundy scene that I had, and I wanted to see what he thought of what I had discovered on the pathway.
What did you do then?
I took Detective Phillips down that pathway and showed him.
Okay. And was that, did you take the same route as you had earlier?
I didn't delay in certain areas, but yes.
So this time you just walked straight back there?
Yes.
And when you say delay in certain areas, what are you referring to?
Well, the indentation on the side of the house, there was a large amount of area there that I walked into that area to orient myself. I didn't do that this time.
And when you took Detective Phillips out, how close did you get to the glove?
We stood just to the west of it, kneeling down.
You were kneeling down?
Yes.
Was Detective Phillips kneeling down?
I don't recall. I just knelt down. That's a narrow path. I just knelt down so he could also observe and pointed.
And after you showed it, did Detective Phillips touch the glove?
No.
Did you touch the glove?
No.
What happened next?
We returned to the front of the residence, and I'm not sure if I entered the residence or Detective Phillips sent Detective Van Adder, but I believe I at some point talked to Detective Van Adder and Lang, and I took Detective Van Adder back to the location.
And what route did you take with Detective Van Adder?
The same as Detective Phillips.
And how close did you get to the glove with Detective Van Adder?
It was similar. We approached the glove just to the west of it, observed it, and then turned around and walked back.
And did you touch the glove at that time?
No.
Did Detective Van Adder?
No.
And after you both saw the glove, where did you go?
We returned to the front of the residence.
And then what did you do?
I believe we entered the kitchen area and contacted Detective Lang, and I brought him down to the same location.
And what did you do with Detective Lang?
The same as the two other detectives. Led him down to the glove, showed him what I had observed, and we returned.
And did Detective Lang touch the glove?
No.
Did you touch the glove?
No.
When you came back out with Detective Lang, what happened next?
Detective Lang and Van Adder were involved in conversation, and I believe I stood away from that, so I'm not exactly positive what the conversation entailed.
Okay. Why did you not involve yourself in their conversation?
Well, this was their crime scene, so they were discussing what had been found and if it ain't anything, what it meant.
Now, at some point, did you have a conversation with Detective Phillips about where the defendant was?
I don't recall. I had learned of it, yes, but I'm not sure exactly when. I know it was after I returned with all the detectives, but I don't know exactly when.
What do you mean when you say after you returned with all the detectives?
After I came back from the path and notified Detective Phillips, sometimes after I showed all the detectives what I had found on the path, I learned of conversations that have been involved with Mr. Simpson.
So at the time that you found the glove, you still did not know where he was or where he'd gone or when he'd gone there?
No,
And when I say he, I'm referring to Mr. Simpson.
that's correct.
So is it your current recollection then, sir, based on what you tell us, that you learned that the defendant was where the defendant was at some point after all detectives were taken back to see the glove?
Yes.
All right, after Detective Lang and Detective Van Adder had that conversation, what happened next?
Thereabouts, sometime, Detective Van Adder told Detective Phillips and myself to go back to Bundy to look at that glove that we had seen on Bundy,
And for what purpose, sir?
to see if there was a similarity, if we had a right and a left, see if the color and the leather and the lining matched.
And so after Detective Van Adder asked you to do that, did you?
Yes, Detective Phillips and I left the Rockingham scene and went back to Bundy.
In the same car you guys came in earlier?
Yes,
You drove together, did you?
yes.
And what time was it when you went back to Bundy?
I believe about 7 in the morning, maybe a little later.
Again, were you looking at your watch when you left Rockingham to go back to Bundy?
No, I wasn't.
Is that an approximation, sir?
Yes.
And when you went back to Bundy, what did you do?
Detective Phillips instructed me to get a photographer. I did. We walked down Dorothy, entered the alley, and came in through the rear of the residence.
Anytime I hear Bundy.
Yeah.
People's Exhibit number 55. Two, please.
We threw this exhibit over.
Ms. Clark?
We will be shortly. All right, sir. When Detective Phillips asked you to go and get a photographer, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose of that?
To photograph the glove in its original position, and if I needed to move it to inspect it any further, we could, in other words, photo it as we originally found it.
And who is this in the photograph, sir?
That is victim Brown and myself.
And are you pointing to something underneath that bush?
Yes, I am.
And what is that?
To the glove on Bundy.
And is that the photograph that you took the photographer over to take at the direction of Detectives Van Adder and Phillips?
Yes.
Are you dressed here? You recall testifying earlier that you'd taken your jacket off at some point when you were at Bundy earlier.
Yes.
Had you ever put it on again between that point and this point here?
No, I had not.
So at the time that you found the glove at Rockingham, what were you wearing?
I was wearing exactly what's in this photo, a white shirt, tan slacks,
Do you still have
loafers.
that? I'm sorry?
Loafers.
Loafers?
Loafers. Shoes.
Shoes. And do you still have that clothing, sir?
Yes, I do.
The shirt and the pants?
Yes.
And so are you still dressed in the same manner in this photograph being shown to the jury now as you were when you found the glove at Rockingham?
Yes.
After that photograph was taken, sir, what happened next?
I returned to the Rockingham address
And for what purpose did you return to the Rockingham address?
to inform the detectives what I saw at Bundy.
Now, before you left for Rockingham again, when you went over to the glove on Bundy, sir, what did you do? You were asked, I think you testified earlier, to compare it to the one at Rockingham to determine whether it would look the same
Yes.
and a match.
Yes.
What did you do in order to make sure of that?
Well, I had to determine if it was a right or a left, and I did. It was a left-handed glove.
At Bundy?
Yes. It appeared to be the same texture of leather, same color. The fabric, a mesh fabric, was the lining inside. It appeared to be the same texture, design, and color as the glove on Rockingham.
Did you touch the glove?
No.
Did you move it?
Yes.
How'd you do that?
With a pen?
With a pen, like the kind you write with?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have the ink part out?
No.
And what did you do that for?
I just lifted it and turned it so I could tell if it was a right or a left, and to look at the lining.
And was there someone else present when you did that?
Yes.
Who?
The photographer, I believe he was Mr. Rokar.
Okay. And how did that assist you in determining whether it was a right or a left?
Excuse me?
How did that help you? Lifting it with the pen, how did that help you determine if it was a right or a left?
Well, I wanted to see where the thumb was.
Were you able to see where the thumb was without doing that?
I might have been able to, but I wanted to make sure.
And why did you want to make sure? Why were you getting this information?
Well, I was being directed to do this, and I felt there was probably a very important reason why, and I wanted to be sure.
And so you were going to report back to Detective Van Adder?
Yes.
And after that was done, sir, you indicated that you went back to Rockingham?
Yes.
Did you go by yourself?
Yes, I did.
Did you ask anyone to follow you or proceed there as well?
Yes.
Who was that?
The photographer.
And for what purpose?
To photograph the other glove, and for whatever other reason, Detective Van Adder and Lang wanted him at Rockingham.
Now, after you lifted put your pen inside to lift the glove at Bundy, did you replace it in the same location
Yes.
as it was found?
Yes.
You went to Rockingham then and you took the photographer?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that?
To document the position of the glove on the pathway that I had discovered earlier.
And what did you do in that regard when you got to Rockingham with the photographer?
I believe I was instructed to show him where the glove was and so he could photograph it, and he did.
Did you take him down that south pathway?
Yes.
And again, what route did you take to take him down there?
The same as the other three detectives, eastbound on the path to the glove, just west of the glove, and he photographed it.
And so are these photographs, are any of these photographs the ones that were taken in your direction with the photographer at Rockingham? When I say these, I'm referring to People's 116.
I'm not sure, I don't believe we had any numbers at that time.
And photograph E, where there is no number, then might that be one of the photographs taken in your direction by Mr. Roper?
Yes.
All right, and at that time, did you touch that glove?
No.
Did Mr. Rokar touch that glove?
No.
After he took photographs, what did you do?
We returned to the front of the residence.
Now, when you pointed the glove out to Mr. Rokar for the purpose of taking photographs, did you point out aspects of the glove that you wanted him to take note of in photographs?
No, I believe I just wanted photographs of the glove. I don't think there was anything we could depict that we'd need photos of from any angle.
You described earlier that you noticed the glove to be moist and sticky. You recall that?
That's the way it appeared, yes.
Did you notice whether any fingers were stuck together?
I do recall that there was one finger that was stuck to one part of the glove.
All right, what happened next?
I took the photographer back out to the front of the residence, and I re-entered the front door area that led into the kitchen
And for what purpose?
to tell the detectives, well, I had already previously told them what I had found, but there was a discussion going on, and I came back there to rejoin them.
Now, when you were, let me back up for a second. When you looked at the glove at Rockingham, were you able to tell whether it was right or left-handed?
The glove on Rockingham was a right-handed glove.
And the photograph of it shown in People's 116E, actually D, E, and F. Do those depict the position in which you originally found it?
Yes.
And so we were able to look at the glove and see where the thumb was located without lifting it.
Yes.
Who was inside the kitchen area when you went inside the house after having the glove photographed?
Detective Van Adder, Detective Van Adder for sure. Detective Phillips. That was all I believe I saw when I walked in there.
Did you have any specific instructions then at that point as to what you were to do?
Well, at that point, Detective Van Adder made a statement that we're going to handle the Rockingham address as a crime scene, and we needed to seal it off, secure it.
And what were you asked to do at that point, if anything?
To make sure no one was in the house. There was 2 children in the house. A man that I later found out was Mr. Cowlings. Miss Arnell Simpson was in the house. I think that was all. We asked them if they could take the children somewhere else, that they'd have to leave, that there was some investigation that was going to be done at the house.
And where were you?
At this time, I believe I walked out into the living room area. I think I talked to Mr. Cowlings there. I believe Miss Simpson was somewhere in that general vicinity on the first floor.
Did you remain at Rockingham at that time, sir?
Yes, I did.
And what were you doing?
Waiting for a search warrant to be written.
And who was there with you?
At that point, Detective Van Adder was there momentarily, then he left. There was uniformed officers with the Bronco at the front of the Rockingham gate, uniformed officers to the front of Ashford. Detective Roberts at some point rejoined me at that location. And there was several detectives that ended up there, and I don't recall exactly what time.
Let me back up for 1 minute. You left Rockingham to go back and look at the Bundy glove to see if it matched the one you'd found at Rockingham.
Yes.
When you did that, you went with Detective Phillips, I think you testified.
Yes.
At some point, when you were back at Bundy to compare that glove to the Rockingham glove, do you recall seeing Detective Lang?
I can't remember if I saw him at that point.
When you returned to the Rockingham location, do you recall whether you saw Detective Lang there?
I can't remember. I remember talking to Van Adder because he said we were going to secure this and handle it like a crime scene. And then I started talking to Mr. Cowlings and Miss Simpson.
Then did you remain at Rockingham for the balance of the day?
Yes.
And what was your function there?
To make sure we just kept the location secure, waiting for a warrant to be signed.
Okay. And you were with the uniformed officers and at some point joined by Detective Roberts?
Yes, and then there were several detectives after that.
And at some point in the afternoon, do you recall meeting me?
Yes, I do.
And that was at Rockingham?
Yes.
Was that the first time we met?
Yes, it is.
Did you walk me through the Rockingham location to show where you had found the glove and where you'd contacted Mr. Kalin?
Yes.
How long did you remain at Rockingham?
And that day,
Yes.
I believe it was well past 6 in the evening. I'm not positive on that, but I know it was very late in the afternoon at the earliest.
Do you recall seeing media arrive at the Rockingham location at some point?
Yes.
Do you recall approximately when that was?
It seems that it was right around the noon hour, but I'm not positive.
And at some point, did you put on your jacket?
Yes.
When was that?
When the media arrived,
And why was that?
because that's what we're supposed to do.
In case your boss was watching?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing further.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess at this point. Please remember my admonition to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you. Also, do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you, and we will reconvene in about 15 minutes. All right? Detective Furman, you may step down. You're ordered to return in 15 minutes.